Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Statesman Soundwave. My name is Raghav Khosla, and I'm the host of this podcast. In today's episode, we will be starting another series. It'll be getting to know Stevenson alumni. It'll be various alumni of various ages, careers, and we'll just be getting to know how their Stevenson experience really impacted the way they're leading their lives and their careers. So today with us, we have Mr. Miller. He's a post-secondary counselor at Stevenson. Mr. Miller, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, everybody, and I apologize if you hear some baby sounds in the background. But yes, I'm Mr. Miller. I'm a post-secondary counselor at Stevenson. It's my 8th year working at Stevenson.
Great.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, when did you graduate from Stevenson, Mr. Miller?
I graduated Raghav in 2001.
Oh, okay. So then where did you end up going to school after?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2001, and I was always interested in kind of switching up, leaving the Midwest. Even though I was looking at colleges in the Midwest, I ended up going to the East Coast and moving to Washington, D.C., which was always a city I really enjoyed seeing. And I attended the George Washington University in D.C. for both my undergraduate degree, and I actually stayed on and earned 2 master's degrees at GW while working in the admissions office for about 8 years. So I lived in DC for a total of 12 years.
Wow, so quite a lot of time spent in Washington. But then, so you ended up coming back to Stevenson. So speaking about Stevenson, what were some of your favorite classes, some favorite teachers that might still be here?
Miss Arias, who some of you guys might know, who's an amazing communication arts English teacher and ELL teacher as well. She was actually my freshman English teacher. Fun fact. Dean Shanefish, who you might have as a dean, was my chemistry teacher, who was an amazing chemistry teacher. I'm trying to think of other people. I had Mr. Barnaby for English one year as well. If any of you guys knew Mr. Larson, who just retired in the spring, he was my AP government teacher for my senior year that left a big impression on me. But I had so many great teachers. But those are some of the ones that are currently on the faculty that some students might be familiar with.
The Stevenson teachers are great. So I think back then as well, you would have had some great experiences with them in your classes and with your teachers.
No doubt.
What activities were you part of at Stevenson?
I was really involved with the theater department as a student. So I was involved in almost every production during my 4 years, whether it was on stage as an actor. I'm not a singer. I wasn't then, and I'm still not, although I always wished I could carry a tune. But I was kind of the onstage guy. I liked comedic shows, but I also did some dramatic roles as well. But I also did backstage work too. So I always was on the stage group for the musical, and whenever I wasn't in a play, I was always kind of behind the scenes creating the set, helping to stage manage. I helped stage manage our senior musical when I was a senior. So that was probably my biggest area of involvement, but I also did some student leadership stuff. So I was involved with class board for a year or two. I was involved with Odyssey as well. So that's kind of fine arts oriented. I was an FMP my junior and senior year, and I was on the executive board for that when I was an upperclassman. I was in National Honor Society. But definitely I think the theater was the most impactful for me. It's where I probably spent my most time. It was my most meaningful. Yeah.
So what's your best memory from Stevenson?
Gosh, so many great memories. One of my favorite memories was doing Odyssey, actually. I was involved on the executive board when I was in school. I think it took place I believe my freshman and junior year, if I'm remembering correctly. So my second time I did it, I was on the executive board and I got to help plan some of the activities and whatnot. And I remember, because I was involved in theater, we actually brought in a Broadway actor who's very famous. His name is Anthony Rapp, who was in the original Broadway cast of Rent and has gone on to do movies and other things. And he did a masterclass workshop. I'll always remember this, with me and some of my theater friends, for people that were going on to audition for theater schools and theater conservatories. And he actually gave us critical feedback on our audition material for people that were looking to study that and go into a career in the theater, into acting. And that was always just, I thought, such a unique, cool experience of something that I was really involved with in high school. And we had a professional, famous, successful actor come and literally teach us for 2 hours. We'd spend a master class with him for a full morning. It was pretty unbelievable.
That's a crazy experience. So now this is going more towards after graduating from Stevenson. How has your Stevenson experience impacted your career?
So my high school counselor and I stayed in touch when I lived in Washington. And since I worked in college admissions, I became kind of like a colleague of his, and we kind of became friends, which was so cool because he was a person that I really viewed as a mentor and a confidant as a student. And in 2011, 2012, when I was finishing kind of in the middle of my graduate school program, he told me, hey, I'm retiring in 2013. Would you be interested in moving back to Chicago and maybe taking over for me? And I thought, my gosh, this is like a dream come true. Like, I have family here. I thought about moving back to Chicago anyways, and it was an amazing job. And I never thought I would work at Stevenson, honestly. I never really had that dream. Maybe when I was in high school, I always thought it was just my high school experience, but it was an opportunity I could not pass up because it's an amazing school. And to be able to come back and make an impact on the community I grew up in was really special, and it still is today.
Wow, that's great. So I actually did not know that. So you took your old counselor's position after you moved on.
Yeah, he was a general counselor when I was a student, but then he moved in the later part of his career before he retired. His last 7 or 8 years or so, he worked in the College Career Center as a college counselor. So he sort of transitioned roles, and I would have loved being a general counselor. I still would love that today, but I always have had a passion for helping students think about their dreams and hopes for after high school. They're both counseling roles. They just focus on different elements in a high school. So the fact that I could do my dream job right out of graduate school was really a dream come true for me.
Yeah, definitely. So are there any lessons you've learned from high school that have really impacted just the way you lead your life these days?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned from being at Stevenson for 4 years as a student, now 8 years as a faculty member, is what you put into something is what you get out of it. And if you want to really learn and grow and become a better you in whatever aspect that is, it's going to require time and energy and some perseverance, because if you're looking to just kind of phone it in and do what you think is the minimum, you're not going to grow all that much. And I've really appreciated year after year when I was a student, and certainly as a faculty member, that if you want to build a great program, help people around you, and collaborate with people on your team, whatever your team looks like, whether it's people in the fine arts, people in leadership, student government, or people in the classes or projects you're working on, you have to really work well together and you view yourself as a team to figure out how you can help each other, because you're going to make the product more successful, but the process will also be more engaging and meaningful, hopefully. And I continue to appreciate that you can't just go with the flow. You've got to continue to push yourself to be better.
That's a great message, and I think that's relevant to everyone who will be listening to this this regardless of where they are. If they're a student, a teacher. That's a great message you told us. Thank you, Mr. Miller. So that's my last question. What is one word to describe your Stevenson experience?
I would say unexpected, and I mean that in a positive way. I did not. I guess I never would have thought, if I go back to like when I was a freshman, at Stevenson, what those 4 years would look like, and it was really an amazing high school experience. But I also never thought I would return, like I said, and really enjoy and love working at Stevenson. I mean, some days, while there are challenging days and moments, it's an honor to really work for our district, and to work with our students and families. And sometimes it doesn't feel like a job. It just feels like something I do, and it's fun. It's something I enjoy waking up for every day, looking forward to whatever's on my plate for my day. So it's always unexpected of what will come, but I mean that truly in a positive way, because it's been super awesome, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't still love it. What I do every day. Yeah,
that's unexpected is a word that we can really apply to a lot of situations, but definitely high school for me too. It's a lot of unexpected turns, but it all ends up doing well in the end, as I can see with you. Great counselor. You're a sponsor of my club, and I love working with you. So thank you so much for being here, Mr. Miller. We're going to conclude this episode here. I hope you enjoyed being on the show today.
It was a true pleasure, Raghav. Thank you for having me on, and feel free to ask me again if you need me anytime.
Of course. So it was great having you today, and I hope everyone enjoyed getting to know Mr. Miller in a new way, as I did. If you have any feedback or suggestions for us, please reach out to our social medias at Statesman SHS on our Twitter, or at AESHS Statesman on our Instagram, as well as just going on our website at statesmanshs.org and checking out the wonderful stories that our staff puts out and puts so much effort into. And with that, I'd like to conclude this episode. Thank you so much for being here today. Bye for now.